Welcome once again, viewers. Welcome to Conversations with Novello. As a part of this episode, we are going to get into a conversation with regard to rules of origin and the ecosystem surrounding the rules of origin. I am Raman, partner, Novello Advisors. This is being brought to you as a part of justidt.org initiative. We have with us Pratik Balal.
Hello, I'm Pratik. Let's continue the conversation.
So, as a part of today's episode, we will be looking at, as I mentioned, the ecosystem of rules of origin. What exactly is rules of origin? Well, then, just a quick recap of our earlier narrative on this. Well, the government of India signs an FTA with yet another country in order to ensure that the biggest revenue that's being given up as a part of signing the FTA in the form of basic customs duty, so as to offset that kind of revenue loss, any government for that matter would like to ensure that the goods which are being imported into India as a part of an FTA are in fact goods that originate from the other country. How do we determine this? How do we determine the originating factor from another country as a part of the FTA is what rules of origin ecosystem draws its strength from. PB, would you want to add regarding character rules?
Yeah, sure. So basically what used to happen before was the proof of the origin, whatever Raman said right now. What was the document that substantiates that the origin of the goods is so and so country was the certificate of origin, which is issued by the exporting country. So what used to happen was the importer's onus or the burden of proof was only the submission of that certificate of origin. Then it was understood that the FTA preferential treatment was being misused. Therefore, the government of India introduced the Carota rules in September 2020, where they mandated a certain set of information that the importer must possess to avail preferential claims. So what were these criterias, or what was this additional information required? So that would basically be not just the certificate of origin, whatever data is included in the certificate of origin, mainly being the originating criteria. We will get into what are the types of originating criteria, but those documents which substantiate how you got to that originating criteria is to be included after the Carota rules was introduced.
Perfect. So in essence, the onus or the burden of proof was thrust on the Indian importer to ensure that the Indian importer takes adequate safeguards as regards the background of the originating goods itself. So, SPB was mentioning, there are different formats, parameters, contours under which the originating criteria can be carved out. Let us look at the first one, the wholly originating criteria, WO. What is WO? What is wholly originating? As long as the goods wholly originate from the country of origin, which is shipping the goods to the other country, that comes under the categorization of wholly originating. Best illustrations examples would be the minerals and ores, which are basically the sovereign resources of any country that are extracted from that country, falls under WO. Marine animals and products from marine animals in the territorial waters of the country of origin are also treated as, from WO perspective, plants harvested from that country. Animals born and raised in that country. All of them falls under wholly originating criteria. Now, examples in the case of wholly originating criteria will be any minerals, ores, concentrates of the minerals, and includes the major item coal. All of the above falls in the wholly originating criteria. Would you like to go through the next?
Yeah, sure. So wholly originating is not very common. Like there are manufacturing processes involved. The trade and the export import doesn't basically deal only with trade of ores and minerals like how Raman said. It will be processed goods, finished goods which are processed in different countries where India has a lack of those manufacturing facilities. We do import it from other countries. So what happens when, so there the next criteria would be the regional value content addition when it is not wholly obtained. So whatever Raman spoke about was about wholly obtained in that country. So there are certain set of other criteria specified for when goods are not wholly obtained there. So let us first go to the regional value content addition. So here what happens in this criteria is that whatever manufacturing process you are undertaking in the country of export, the FTA itself sets out a certain percentage. That percentage of value in that FOB value of the goods being exported, certain percentage of those goods of the FOB have to be value added in that country itself. There are certain exclusions for these processes itself, like simple packaging will not be included in such a criteria. The criteria also sets out two ways of calculating this value content addition. Either it's up to down or down to up. You can do either ways. So the up to down would be where you are trying to figure out how much is the originating goods and thereby calculating the percentage. Up or down to up is where you know what is the non-originating material that you are going to put into the product. So you calculate based on the non-originating process. That is one part of the regional value content addition. So under regional value content addition, most often is that it is not just the value addition, there also is a mandate on change of tariff heading, tariff classification heading. So regional value content addition plus change of tariff heading. One step ahead, where those countries where India has good trust on, there is something called as product specific rules. So what is product specific rules and why is it so different from regional value content addition? When the trust is high, you do not want the other country to provide you too much of information. So under the product specific rules, it only mandates that the tariff heading of the raw materials jumps. The tariff heading jumps from the raw material to the finished product. That is the only one set there.
So PB, take us through the de minimis rule, please.
Yes. So de minimis is where certain parameters are set in the FTA itself, in the rules of origin, which says that when the origin of the goods are not known, or non-originating materials in that case, would be allowed as originating materials up to a certain percentage of the value or percentage of the weight. In the same lines, there is something also known as the cumulation criteria, where the participating countries, where the goods originating in one participating country is used in the production of the production process in the other country, will be considered as originating in that country on the cumulation basis.
That needs to be quite well defined as a part of the FTA itself. So these basically are the contours of rules of origin. Very important, as we mentioned at the beginning, it is very important, especially post the position of Carrera rules. Which some may call it as draconian, but at the end of the day, when India opens up its border for cross-border trade, the government of India, is well aware of the fact that it should not unduly cause domestic injury per se, and therefore they have actually set the process in place. With this, we come to the end of our episode on ROO. We will probably catch up with you the next episode on transshipment in the space of customs. And as I always say, feel free to check us out at novelloadvisors.com and just spread the word around that we are doing this. Thank you all, and
Thank you.